else to think. I don't know how else to think. I'm grateful for this space to help think together. So I'm making myself eat my breakfast. Um, maybe I'll get some strength in me to think differently, but I can only say how I feel, because that's been the way of raising me here. Um, because the help and response when tensions are I follow the protocol. So the protocol is I say how I'm being affected. Um, I talk to the people that talk with me with respect as if I'm an individual, even though I'm sometimes hated for that. That is, and those are the only folks that actually carry on a civilized two-way conversation with me. The good people of the world that invented the walkie-talkie, the computers, all the telecommunications, the radios, all of that good stuff, all of the MRI equipment, all the electronics, and all the networks that have to do with all things that were made because humans became informed enough, knowledgeable enough about the human body. Did you ever wonder how they invented an air conditioner? First they studied the human body in the cells microscopically, how we can cool our temperature, how we feel extreme cold, we can perish from cold, but how we could, get really warm again, and how then we could even perish from extreme heat. And all with the environment influence, the human body is it's like a machine that can cool itself down, that could um, also warm itself up. So in studying microscopically how those function, they made a replica uh, um, air cooling systems that we install in the homes. So think of like our bodies have, if you've looked at them install air conditioning ever. So that helps you comprehend a little bit what I'm thinking at the moment. So much of all the things stem from the meticulous study of ourselves. So what we are when somebody asks, "What are you?" When challenging me mentally, they asked me when I asked Aurora, look, 12-year-old, "What are you?" And as if, stepping away, because what response is there to such a um all-encompassing question, like if you really want to know the answer, or you simply want to say, I believe you're inferior because you could not look through my mind. You can look at what I'm thinking, so I'm going to walk up to you and in my ignorance try to insult you by telling you that how we're made is you're made different, and you'll always be lagging behind. You'll always be last to learn something. So what's felt as an insult when being asked, "What are you?" However, the real answer for me is my life quest's most joyous experience, to have knowledge about the self, about the world, about what causes otherwise normal looking individuals have a bad attitude towards me, and how I must respond to that in order to defend myself so as not to inquire further violence onto myself. is the uh, only way that I can experience the uh, um, avoidance, you know, the explanation to the avoidant attitude of finding solace and seclusion in one person activities. Some I can, you know, intrinsically mm, be, you know, shaped this way, very self-absorbed, while extremely public at the same time, simply, you know, with physical distancing plus the telecommunication systems. So this way I can respond to my neighbors that I feel want me near them in a way that I consider proper. Is they already made me suicidal. I called the sheriffs because I went asking one of them for heroin to kill myself in accordance with all these precepts that were pre-established in 1999 on how I cope with the panic attacks, how I cope with feeling suicidal, how I cope with anxiety, is I go talk with someone. So I went talk with them feeling suicidal, and some of them said, no, don't kill yourselves. They said that I'm actually a good example to people, that I'm benefit to others being alive, because something about my character is not worthy, so linger around. So they called mental health, crisis intervention. They called the sheriffs to confirm that there's no immediate threat. Like, okay, somebody's not immediately trying to kill somebody here. It's all peace. Is simply, you know, this female going through her emotions again. She has cancer, endometriosis. She's also a drug addict who doesn't take drugs, who, because we're all trying to keep her sober even though she's in pain, we let her learn other ways to manage her pain than make easy way for her to get narcotic. What marijuana we help dispense to her, we pretty much help ourselves to control her eyesight, because as people became very possessive of me. I'm explaining how the Mexica brains became what others consider their possession, or their object of hate, or their object of learning, or their object of, like, some of them maybe said onto their kids about me when at Royal Oak. Maybe some of them once said, there's this brain near, or there's this human being near that's very different from us. And maybe their parents said, well, just stay close, keep close watch on her. That way you'll learn why many things of our world are the way they are, and that we're all born a little bit wondering why. And it's our relations with these creatures who are different from us that have shaped many of our customs. Just live, watch, and learn. Don't get hurt. Or, you know, maybe some people did say, well, um, you know, made a spectacle of the terror for a long time, in the past, so much that the textbooks, you know, started being written about when the people find the place in their hearts to misbehave, to become their demonic selves. The ignorant self, the ignorant Mexica brain, reacts in accordance in an act of aggression, or the Mexica brain reacts in accordance in an act of love, when mostly is love. And the people have the tendency mostly to recognize errors and to not highlight achievements or good behavior, the good conduct that we appreciate from one another. We often don't say, good job, yay, like, I love this about you, you're doing good. We mostly have a pessimistic inherent tendency for self-loathing, to say the error, you know, bring up the, oh, you failed at this, you're bad at this, I hate you for this. But what about all the times that I've, acquired, good merits? So that is also in the textbook. In the last chapter I read, I was trying to read here, to introduce psychology to, as I've stated, the folk in the Narcotics Anonymous realm who aren't scholarly inclined, because why should they be? Their way of life didn't, call on their destiny to be scholarly, called on their destiny to invent the greatest way to domineer, exert dominion on the what they consider lower species, to commingle with. Some people, like, really, I feel, have objectified me to make me feel like, what am I, um in a way that makes me place myself somewhere between the monkey and between the, I don't know, their intellects. See, that's where I have not, I've only thought about studying their brains, but I haven't actually picked up more literature, because they had pre-informed me when I went to Citrus College when I was 18 years old, telling them that I really, yeah, if I'm, they're nourishing my brain to believe that I could get whatever degree I want in this world, right? Either here or in Mexico. So I declare mine to be a PhD in neuroscience. So they said, we don't have that yet. We'll draft that for you as you go along first. You don't even have your generals um, for the pre-math, so while you're here, do this, do good at this, and then we'll talk. We'll set you up with the transfer onto a different edifice where you'll continue in, so I was all right. So I got my schedule, and then while I was doing my schedule for these classes, that's when they made a semester English class out of, all right, let's write an entire semester on song lyrics, and how these affect your thinking, how these affect your behavior, what your morals standard, what your moral response is to the precept, to the lyrics. And so we were all in depth. Like, I wrote a comment yesterday about Tupac's death at the news channel. So there was a whole semester devoted to that. While I was attending their class, I quit because the Jehovah's Witnesses males started going into this property in their suits very respectfully, not, pushing that I should never think about a penis agenda, pushing all that, that, you know, very chaste, high standard of this brain, Mexico brain, let's not think about intimate contact at all, except when we're going to impregnate her, and like play a good male role, and like not teach her much about intimacy, will happen to disregard my previous history a little bit with the disease, of Alcoholics Anonymous, the disease of Narcotics Anonymous, that have procured their getting together, same as the various credences and sects that develop of Christianity among the nations, more recently in America, um, that gain much momentum. The Rutherford folk, as Charlene liked to just talk about the founders, about their families, about their views on the world and their views on the species that reside on the world. That's what approach my son's grandmother took in speaking with me when I brought up that I'm committing my lifestyle to the arrangements in this religion, because they seem to coincide with my with the way that they have been raising my Mexica brain thus far, scholarly, okay, at the scholarly level, not at the religious level. The high school, before the college experience at 18, at 15 years old, they made their semester class to teach me that if I am a promiscuous youth, I will probably become infected with infectious disease, and we must start to contain that by making me aware that I must limit the number of people that I copulate with in my life. So that is some good intentioned folk that are, overly protective of their of who they come in contact with, of who they exchange bodily fluids with. And there's another, extreme of folk who were depicted in the Fringe episode, in 2004, maybe something like that, where people had become sick, and then the sickness was an way that they could not hold themselves back from trying to infect someone else, and so they had to be restrained, quarantined, contained. And so I don't know, people maybe went lost crazy because we took the liberties to make all the drugs we want to make and take all the drugs we want to take. And mind you, I only took that much LSD 27 years ago, but I know that the mentality that was permeating what the cult was telling me, oh, refer to that as the spirit of the world, and then in the book they talks about the way that the 24 million emboldened themselves to behave in the schizophrenic event, that we have all been living through, learning, about ourselves, learning about why we conduct ourselves the way we do, what justifies us to behave the way we do, to what extent could in the flesh materialize the demonic, considerations that have been in their hearts since the Tyson family started, you know, being an established family name back in England, in the 1800s. So many words I'm stuck with, as as I was trying to say that I already told the neighbors last night. I don't know who hears me, but what I have learned, proper approach to them is approach with a gift. I got to approach with a gift if they didn't make a housewarming party. But like three neighbors that moved near didn't make a housewarming party where they invited me. And seemingly the the energy that pulls my attention towards them without my ability to approach is this, where, okay, so I became suicidal. I approached one place, and then in the proper way to approach, without calling mental health, is for me to feel okay enough to approach with a gift, like um, a gift, a good offering gift. So I am in a position economically where I don't have anything much extra to present as a gift besides myself saying, "Hi, are you feeling okay?" Maybe if I'm feeling okay, that's all I could say. Um, if I don't have a gift, that is a proper approach, because the sheriffs already told me don't approach their houses looking for imaginary people, and don't approach their houses asking for um uh for them to help you commit suicide, and don't approach their houses um obviously as an aggressor, because that's already like, don't approach me. Oh, shut up! You're bothering me. I'm gonna hurl a stone through your window if you don't get out of there and face me right now, because I think you're hiding in there saying stuff and you never face me, and I'm sick and tired of your BS and of your hiding cowardly attitude. And I just start picking up the stones and throwing them and breaking all the windows here, you know, because that has been the proper response from previous Mexica brains that they have corralled into this situation. And so they go all crazy and they break all the stuff, and then ha ha ha, off they go into their happy cell, into their happy toilet with their happy roommate in there to continue trying to establish a good sexual relation with somebody else, trying to learn self love, trying to learn self-respect, and trying to learn boundaries while being pushed to disrespect, as a way of life, as a way of living, like learning to push disrespect onto the Mexica brain, and then sending the Mexica brain back into the cell to try to accept for itself, responsibility and self-control and mastery of, it's all self-control and control of the environment, is going to push us to what extent we have learned to cope with the differences, with the pressure. So I'm grateful right now that I have sufficient um, brain food, I guess, to respond publicly with words while being immobile, because if I were mobile, what would I do, right? If I had the energy, there are only those possible responses. So in before acting, stating my intentions is the way that they're used to living in comfort around me. That's why, while I am not in control and I'm struggling in conflict where my attention is wanted, my intention is received in this manner, where I'm not looking at the camera because I'm not trying to be charming. I in looks at the moment I feel terrible from my backbone. I don't know what is wrong exactly. So I just had to say to the neighbors that those are the ways that I are appropriate approach. Is if I have a gift, or if I go say, "Are you okay?" So far, I'm the one that doesn't have air conditioning here. Seemingly, they all have air conditioning. So you see what situation I'm in. 30 years in economy where they all get pay air conditioning. I don't. And and yet they have something against me, yet I'm somehow not giving enough, and yet somehow I don't have a way to earn, yet somehow if I do have a way to earn and I give something, they tell me, we don't want anything from you, we don't need anything from you. And so it's a very, very confusing situation here, where like, depending on who I talk with, my son is the one who came saying, it's like, we don't want anything from you, don't need anything from, like, he had somewhat bad attitude yesterday, and so I'm really confused, like, the extreme negativity, my mind, clinging to the goodness in life, and in what ways I know I have learned to feel good, in what ways I have learned to be good. Um, uh, Sometimes feels as if I am paddling against the current from folks who um, don't, they don't really say what they want from me, so I end up again saying Will one of you please step forward, volunteer to be a life coach? Either respond here or please go to the gate, call my name. You really all know where I am. I don't know where you guys are. Yana came to visit here from the bus stop the other day. And so what I shared with her a little bit of um some thing I was saying on the yard where I am telling also the people down there at the 502 Club that I believe medical marijuana is good for me because of my past, because of my present, because of my situation internally in my like all my insides like through an MRI view, like given all my past ways, I choose to simply state what other people, I guess, felt before me. Like I said, I thought to go do these things, all over the world or into the ocean or in Colombia or wherever. But I only thought them, and then I made a deal with the people, with myself, with what learned was good association to just stay still for 18 years. And I don't know, they all thought maybe that I've been still waiting for something. Like, the, I don't know, like, I really did hemorrhage my brain on LSD. So maybe they all think I'm here waiting for something, and then there's like um always a sense of yeah, and then wait, like a great expectation of something to happen, and then the waiting, and then that not happening, and then the conflict and racing up the emotions again. And usually all those emotions are linked to our sexuality, whether one is going to copulate or not copulate. And so with the substance control, people trying to control that in their best interest, and imagining that my best interest is only having the narcotic. They don't care about the sentimental aspect of the um, of the copulating, of the act of copulation. And I insist on there's got to be a level of love even with the narcotics, or else there is no way that an individual will agree to do that unless threatened. And so they threatened in the past, and so I attempted. And then I say, you know what, kill everybody you want to kill. I don't have the taste buds nor the drug to be able to withstand making myself. I don't know what they want. Again, that they only have pushed here to the extreme with that awful male that I already went with after jail. They already terrorized me. They already put me in the jail. They already threatened to kill my son. Maybe the mayor already killed my son at the municipal hall in Los Angeles long ago. And they're all saying, oh, wait, what? They're still alive. Well, let's not be government anymore. Like, admit guilt to whom? Like, if we all did this, if the universe pulled itself together to make this woman believe this much, to try to stress her heart, to kill her. Like, are we trying to kill her? Are we trying to make her live? Like, how does what substance affect her? How does what substance affect us? Who can we experiment on? Whose example can we benefit from, whether a good example or a bad example? The boredom of the ages, always being deposited on the Mexica brain as the center of their source of material for their own worthy creative works of art. So is to me a warm greeting anytime that I'm alive. Still, telling myself, okay, I'm alive like this. and I stayed alive like this, and now I'm gonna stay alive like that. Or, oh no, I'm gonna try to die, not live like this. I'm gonna try to die like this.